Today we'll be taking our first look at the Tier 8 Pan-European tech tree destroyer Småland in World of Warships Legends. And I think we're lucky to have this ship at Tier 8 as a free-to-play tech tree, because on PC, this is widely considered to be one of the more overpowered premiums in the game. You can no longer get it. It's a Tier 10 destroyer, and here it has been placed at the non-equivalent tier of Tier 8. So I think it might be a little too potent for this tier, but we'll get into that as we go on. The Småland is quickly becoming one of my favorite destroyers. I think it's exceptionally powerful, and I really like it quite a lot. It's definitely an upgrade from the Oyster Goatland at Tier 7. We'll run down the stats now, and keep in mind that these stats will be influenced by my build. I'm using the more torpedo-focused Pan-European Destroyer Commander Stig, although you could use the gun-focused one, Xarkun, and that would work pretty well, because the Småland does have pretty good gun power. In any case, with this build using William Sims as an inspiration, it's got 21,540 hit points, which is respectable for a destroyer at this tier, although the base HP value is, I think, 18.5k, so William Sims provides a little bit of extra survivability. The torpedoes, which we've just launched at the Alaska, and, well, you can see we launched the one set of them a little bit to the left of his position, and they're going to completely miss. However, they do have a 13.5 kilometer range, so that battleship peeking out from behind the island there, well, he's going to take a face full of these torpedoes. Now, to be fair, they do sort of hit like pillows. They've only got a maximum damage of 10,957, so when you factor in torpedo damage reduction on battleships, you're looking at maybe 6-7k a pop. Nevertheless, they seem to have much more of a flooding chance than your typical torpedo. You can see thus far we've hit 4 of them, and we've got 3 floods out of it. The configuration of the torpedoes is likewise unusual. There are 8 of them, but one is a triple launcher and the other is a quintuple launcher, so 5 and 3. A little bit odd, but they're pretty good. They also have a speed of 90 knots when you build into them. The torpedo detectability range by sea is 1.8 kilometers, which is actually exceptionally visible, but with a speed of 90 knots, you really don't have that much of a reaction time. Oh, and by the way, when you build into them, they reload in 60.3 seconds. Yes, that's right. That is with all of the torpedo-focused skills on Stig, and also the torpedo reload mod in the 4th slot. So you can just be slinging these things around left and right with their 13.5 kilometer range and 90 knot speed, and you can cause some mayhem. As for the guns, though, the guns themselves are really not that bad. In fact, they're almost like Friesland-level guns if you build for them. And I think you probably could build for them and get away with it, although they do only have a maximum range of 11 kilometers when fully upgraded. And I wonder if it would be beneficial to maybe extend that range using some commander skills and inspirations to maybe around 12 kilometers if you're going to build it for guns. With the Stig build, they reload in 2.3 seconds, which is still fairly quick, but not quite as quick as they could be. They're 120mm guns. They have a maximum HE shell damage of 1,750 and an 8% fire chance, which doesn't sound like a lot, but if you build for them and you've got them reloading in under 2 seconds, then they're very good at starting fires. The AP is likewise not bad. It's got a maximum damage of 2,100, and I think we'll see the AP a little bit later against some broadside ships near the end of the game. AA defenses are likewise actually pretty good for a destroyer, much like the rest of the Pan-Europeans. It also has the DFAA consumable. I don't think it's quite as monstrous as Friesland. I haven't gotten that much of a chance to test it out against CVs, but it is actually fairly effective. The maneuverability is mediocre at best. It's only got a top speed of 35 knots, and it's got a decent rudder shift of 4.3 seconds. And then the concealment, at least in this game, I have it down to 5.7. I've gotten it down to 5.5 by using Buy as one of the inspirations. I think in this game that I was playing, I had Sims and the new Italian destroyer commander that you can get by completing the calendar event as inspirations. He cuts down on the damage you take based on how much percentage of your HP you lose or something. I was testing it out, and it does seem to be a decent survivability skill. Couple things, though, about the Småland. Right now, as of the time of recording this video, the aiming is bugged on this ship. When you shoot at enemy destroyers, when they are going at a certain speed, it seems like, the auto lead that the game provides you when you zoom in goes way, way, way too far, and you have to constantly manually adjust when shooting at destroyers, at least right now at this time. It's a very frustrating bug that I hope they fix soon, but it doesn't make the ship unplayable. You just have to be good at aiming manually, and in fact, I recommend you play this ship while it's still got the bug going on because, well, from what I've seen of other Småland players out there, they can't get past the aiming bug. That tells me, and I've always suspected, that a lot of people in the community rely far too much on the auto-aim feature in this game. Really, it's a rough guide, but I see people just hit the L2 or left trigger button and instantly hit R2 or the right trigger to shoot without ever adjusting the aim manually for themselves. That is not going to do any favors for your accuracy, so honestly, I really suggest playing this ship even with the aiming bug. It's annoying to work around when you're shooting at destroyers, but if you can work around it and dial in your shots manually on those destroyers, it'll make you better at aiming in this game in general. Nevertheless, I hope they fix the bug soon because it is annoying. In any case, I think the Småland is a fantastic Tier 8 destroyer. I highly recommend getting this as one of the first. The way I've got it built is it is a highly effective torpedo boat, but it could also be a pretty effective gunboat. Now, it doesn't have a smoke screen, and we should talk about its consumables. I've already mentioned the DFAA consumable, but it's got two more very useful ones. One, of course, is the radar. Now, you can switch the radar out for a heal, and I might do that at some point, but I think the radar is a very good consumable, very powerful on this destroyer, especially with its gunpower. It's got a 7.5 kilometer range and a 20-second duration, so I've used it to great effect to trash other enemy destroyers. I don't actually think I get to use it at all in this game. All the enemy destroyers are dead, and we've basically won at this point. The other consumable is the engine boost, which, at first glance, you might think it's a normal engine boost. It's not at all. It's only got a 60-second duration, which is shorter than your usual DD engine boost, but it adds plus 30% speed for those 60 seconds. I think I said 30 seconds. It's 60-second duration. It adds plus 30% speed for those 60 seconds, and that is better than even the French engine boosts. So you've got a top speed of 35 knots. When this engine boost is going, this thing goes well over 40 knots. I think it tops out around 43 or 44, which is very useful if you need to get away quickly. You don't have a smoke screen, so you can't deploy one and hide in it. You've got to run if you get into a sticky situation. And you can see here we're about to deploy the engine boost because we recognize this Alaska is pushing in, and we've got our back against an island, plus there's a Des Moines behind us, so we don't want to push further toward him. We're going to launch torpedoes at this Alaska as we try to take this cap. And yeah, I think the Småland is excellent. I think this is one of the more powerful destroyers in the game. It's certainly the more powerful one on the pan-European tech tree line. It is a definite upgrade over Oyster Goatland. I honestly cannot believe that we have this at Tier 8 as a free-to-play tech tree, because, as I said in the beginning of this video, it is a highly valuable premium on PC, so it's interesting to see what they're doing. And I haven't decided yet, but I do think this could be maybe a little bit too strong for Tier 8. I don't know. It remains to be seen. I think I need to play it a little bit more extensively, but certainly it's a Tier 10 destroyer on PC, and so you would think it should be a legendary tier here. Although, given the fact it's Tier 8, I suspect at some point soon we will see its sister ship, the Holland, added to the Bureau at legendary tier for the Pan-Europeans. Who knows when that will be? But I'll be interested to play that ship as well, because it is the sister ship to the Småland, but it has more torpedoes. Speaking of the torps, We've launched them at the Yamato in Alaska, and here we'll get to see a little bit of the Gunpower in effect. Our range is not great because this was, again, the last game I played before I updated the gun range, so I've only got 10 kilometers. A little bit tricky, but, you know, we're playing the islands here. The torpedoes look like they're going to make contact with the Yamato. We'll see if we can't finish him off because they're not quite enough with his ridiculous torpedo damage reduction. Although, look at that, 10 floods, 14 hits. These torpedoes really will start floods, and if you build for them and you've got them reloading in 60 seconds, it's likely that every now and then you're going to get a perma-flood and liquidate a ship. I've done it a couple times already with the Småland. These torpedoes are quite good. In any case, we're going to win this game. There's no chance in hell for this Alaska. He's retreating, he's on low health, he's being focused down by every single one of our teammates, and we're going to finish this game with about 140,000 damage done or so, 14 torpedo hits, and not a lot of gun hits, but again, these guns are effective, you can use them. Firing arcs are a little bit floaty, of course, so you do have to be decent at aiming, and you, at this point, have to work past the aiming bug when shooting at destroyers, but it doesn't affect you shooting at battleships or cruisers, so there is that. Excellent ship, though. I am very excited about this one, honestly. I look forward to continuing to play it as time goes on. I think it is going to become one of my more favorite destroyers in the game. It is very potent and very fun to play. But that being said, I can see people struggling with this ship due to the fact that it doesn't have a smoke screen, but it does have very powerful weapon systems and very powerful consumables. I think it's probably a bit more of a high skill floor destroyer than your typical DD might be, so I can imagine people will struggle with it, but it is objectively very potent and very good, and even though it doesn't have a smoke screen, it is not limited to being situational. It is exceptional. We end the game with nearly 3,000 base XP, 140,000 damage done, and, well, I think you'll be seeing a bit more of the Småland on this channel as time goes on. Hope you enjoyed the video. If so, give it a thumbs up, consider subscribing if you haven't already, and I'll see you next time. Goodbye.